Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about scams and how pervasive they are over all the internet of trombone sales and how you can avoid them. I actually think I made a video about this at some point, maybe years ago, and I thought if I had, it needs to be updated. So let's talk about it today. I personally don't think I've actually been fully scammed. I've had a couple instruments show up, like maybe not as advertised like this, but it's always worked out for me in the end. I did recently have an eBay instrument that got frauded out of me, but of course eBay has good buyer protection, so I didn't lose any money. I just lost an instrument that I really wanted. So that's not quite what we're talking about. I'm talking about people advertising things, taking your money, and then never sending anything and disappearing. And that's happening a lot lately. I'm seeing this a lot on Facebook. I see it on Trombone chat to a much smaller extent. It's just harder to get started scamming there, honestly. And Craigslist, of course, places like that have had this kind of thing going on for a long time. But Facebook, especially right now, is just a hive of these things. And it really makes me worried because in the past, the scams like this were not very sophisticated. People would upload a couple pictures that they had stolen, they'd put a price on it, and they would try to get people to send them money or whatever, but it's usually pretty obvious. Like the price would just be like hilariously low, or it would just be wrong, the description wouldn't match the instrument, there'd only be one picture, you could tell by what they were saying that they had no idea what they were talking about, etc. It's usually pretty easy to spot. Lately, though, I have a feeling that some players of instruments, and maybe even advanced ones, advanced players that is, have switched sides. And they are the ones doing the scamming because they've gotten much better at figuring out, oh, people like to buy bass trombones or whatever. And if I price it at this price point, not too low and not too high, I will get a lot of people that want to buy this. Like they're figuring these things out very well. They know how to describe things. They know how to talk to you if you chat to them on Facebook. It's just too accurate. And it makes me feel like we've actually had some callers from inside the house. And that bothers me. There's nothing I can do about it. Just don't be one of the scammers. There's better ways to spend your time and, in my opinion, to make money. So let's talk about what you can do. So if you find an ad that looks too good to be true, right? You find, well, okay, maybe it's not a G bass because not a lot of people are looking for G basses. Maybe you find an ad that has a Yamaha 842 euphonium, and they're only asking $1,000. Now, $1,000 is still a lot of money, so you're not going to have like middle school kids trying to buy it with their own money. Normal people aren't going to be like, wow, I'm going to spend $1,000 and that's going to be a deal. No, euphonium players who want euphonium go, wow, that horn is worth 4, 5, 6 times that amount. That's a good deal. I'm going to try and go for it. So that's one of those dangerous price points, right? Now, do some extra research. Reverse image search the photos in the ad. Sometimes they just take photos from someone's like the Brass Exchange or Brass Arc or something like that, somewhere really obvious. Maybe there's even a watermark in them, but a lot of times you can recognize the background of a photo if it's from one of those obvious places. But otherwise you can do the reverse image search and be like, oh, this was an ad that was on Tubaform or Tuba Chat or whatever from 2012, and this horn is sold years ago, and someone wouldn't be using the same photos again to sell it now, so they just stole the photos. It's fake. Or there's never been these pictures before on the internet, and that gives you more information that, hey, maybe it's real. Look at the profile of the seller. This is for Facebook, of course. If this person has had a profile for a long time, maybe that's a good thing. But sometimes they've had a profile since like 2012, but they have no friends. And that's a scammer profile. Like everyone has a couple friends on Facebook. And if their profile is like a week old and they have like 10 friends, it's probably not real, right? Look at the age, look at the friends, look at the history. Do they have lots of like posts? It looks like they do things. Does it look like they play instruments? Do they know what music is? If it's just like them going on vacation and never talking about trombones or euphoniums or whatever, it might be a hint that yes, they could be selling for a friend or something, but odds are they don't really know what they're doing, or it's just a scammer who hacked somebody's profile. Check the wording of the ad, and every once in a while you kind of do the equivalent of the reverse image search and use a paragraph from the ad and just search that, because sometimes they'll just copy paste the entire ad from some like tuba form or whatever, and they just copy it word for word, and you can just go find that paragraph and be like, oh well, this is just fake. But also just check out the wording of it. Does it make sense? Are things spelled correctly? Does it look like they know what they're talking about? Is there a weird story in it? A lot of times lately the story is like, oh, my late husband played this euphonium and I'm selling it in his memory or something like that. I've seen that one a lot. So if you see that, just consider it a red flag. It's not immediately a scam, but it probably is. And then, since it's Facebook, talk to them a lot. There's no reason you have to limit your communication with this person to just, hey, how much will you pay? Well, here's my address. See if you can suss it out. Get some more information out of them. Ask for more pictures that are not in the ad. Hey, can I get a photo of the serial number or the logo on the instrument? And if they come up with excuses for days why they can't do that, they probably don't have the instrument and you're never going to get it. So, the second big part of a scam, right, is they want to make money. That's like the whole point for them, is to make money. So how do they want to be paid? And really, it all boils down to, if you can pay them with PayPal goods and services, it's probably not a scam, and if it is, you get all your money back. There's kind of no risk there at all. But that's pretty much the only buyer protection system that there is. I think Facebook has one built in to their classifieds. I've never actually used it myself. That has buyer protection as well. And if you use eBay, of course, that has PayPal goods and services built in. But every other way that you can use to pay has nothing. So things like, let's see, I have a list. PayPal friends and family, of course. You only use that for friends and family. That's the whole point. Zelle, Venmo, cash, obviously sending a check, cashier's check, all those kind of things have no protections. And so if the person is really insistent, oh, just send me a Zelle. Yeah, sure, they'll get the money very quickly. And then if they want to, they can just disappear for all time, because that Zelle goes straight from your account to their account and there's no buyer protection. Zelle says this, they're like, hey, do you know this person? Are you sure you want to send them money? And if you just send it, it's gone. I actually just had a friend get scammed because he sent a Zelle instead of using a buyer protection system. Quick side note, another one of the Facebook red flags is that they are advertising an instrument in a place, but then if you look at their profile or whatever, or even in the description, they'll say, oh, it's actually in a different place, I'll have to ship it. There's no reason you would do that in real life. You just don't need to do that, and that's a huge red flag. This person was saying that they were in LA and they were in a far distant place in California. They would just advertise it there. There's no reason to do both. So that was a big red flag. So basically, yeah, don't use payment services that don't give you buyer protection. For me, if they accept goods and services, which has buyer protection, or if I'm buying on eBay, I will go all out. I don't care. I'm going to get the money back no matter what, if it's a huge scam or not. And if it's not a scam, I got an instrument. But if they are really insistent on these other services, no, they're not getting my money, because they're just going to keep it and I'm not going to get an instrument. That's how I have avoided scams for the last 15 years or whatever. I've personally, to my knowledge, and I could just be forgetting, not been fully scammed ever on an instrument. And I've gotten some really crazy deals because I've done my research. I've figured out these are real people. I've talked to them maybe on the phone. I've gone as deep as I can to make sure that I'm not about to lose potentially thousands of dollars. Keep an eye out, be smart, and again, don't use payment services where your money just disappears. That's all I got for today. Bye-bye.